you the straight dope, okay, on what's going on here, the nuts and bolts, the mathematic 2 plus 2, simple, logical, reasonable stuff. I'm telling you that I know, and it's backed by learning too on a secular scale. I've been to college. I've learned this stuff. I know real estate. I know economics. I learned most of economics on my own, reading Adam Smith's great book, The Wealth of Nations. I understand these things. I've read from Milton Friedman. I know I've read from John Keynes, Maynard Keynes. Okay, I know all these philosophies, Austrian economics, the supply and demand stuff, all this stuff because I'm interested. I didn't learn it to be some brown-nosed sycophant at Harvard, to go be some Wolf of Wall Street brown-nosed pissant. Okay, I didn't do that. Just make gobs of money. Okay, I learned it because I was curious why the problems only seem to get worse. They never seem to get better. Is it really just stupidity and incompetence on high levels, or is this intentional? And I found out indeed it is, and it's traumatic. And it's really very frustrating because they've been so successful at mesmerizing the masses and getting them to believe the way they want them to believe, manipulating them as brute beasts, narrow minded, short sighted, okay, and not understanding, small minded, really, is what they want. They want you stupid, they want you ignorant, they want you confused, off balance, disempowered, so that you can't really speak coherently, cogently, the points you have to make. What's really bugging you is the same thing that's really bugging me. If you're a righteous person and you want peace and safety and security and freedom and prosperity on the earth for everybody like me, you're altruistic in heart and deed, and you really want those godly things that, it is logical to believe that God Almighty wants those things for his children on earth, okay? It's all just makes a lot of sense to say that. Then you understand what I'm trying to convey here. It's very critical that people, lift the cross and pull their fair share of weight here and really work to try to get these messages through to everyday people and snap them out of their trance, because it really is it's a form of zombification, mesmerization, and people are under a spell of stupidity because it's been imposed on us. It's deliberate, it's intentional. This is the direction they've been taking us. Okay, I mean, we're in it really deep, folks. Okay, we're in it really deep. We got politicization of these high-ranking, high-level law enforcement agencies like the FBI. This is so immoral, so unethical, so wrong, so prone to bring down America. Could you imagine if the local police department was politicized and they just went after all the Republicans in town or all the Democrats in town? Why couldn't that happen? What if Antifa, for example, they decided to infiltrate law enforcement and they all just said, look, we're raising a new breed, a new generation of Antifa. And what they're going to do is they're going to infiltrate law enforcement. And they're going to just keep their nose clean and, be able to get their, law enforcement degree and go out there. And so now the law enforcement is predominantly controlled by Antifa members. And so they just go out and they just bust all the resistance to them. You understand how that would work? Because, what do they say? Everybody's doing I mean, it's just ridiculous. We're all breaking some law. That's how the laws of man are. It was the same situation thousands of years ago when Jesus was teaching. These what do they call them? These legalists, okay? The teachers of the law, right? These want to be the authority types, right? They like to hold it over you, that they're smarter than you. They're more educated. They're maybe the alumni of their time, right? A term that didn't exist thousands of years ago. But this is the caliber of people we got, because they know they've got nothing useful to offer humanity. They don't want to be out there digging ditches or catching fish or building houses or doing something useful and productive for humanity. No, they want to sit back like they're all important and just have other people do it and just say, well, you got to pay me because I'm just some highfalutin character and, because I say so, I'm an authority on the law and all this. But, the point is that, look, we're in it deep. We're in it really deep. America, if we're going to set a proper example for the rest of the world, we've got to start setting on an individual basis. And I know that in order for me to be happy, to be truly happy, others have to be happy. And remember, what's at the top of that list of things that make me happy is freedom. So I need other people to be free too. I need them to understand what I'm talking about when I talk about absolute, utter freedom. Okay, I'm talking about being free from the money masters of misery, but we've been going the whole opposite direction my entire life. So the same thing is true for America. If we're going to set a good example about being free and being happy people, then we've got to get this bull by the horns. We got to get it under control. Remember, the rest of the nation's behind the curve. You guys don't even know how bad it's going to become. When you see your cost of living tax going up, you see your family members losing their behind and enjoying abject poverty. That's what's coming. So this whole idea that Trump's got a hold of poverty in America because he's created a bunch of jobs for people. I mean, that's false. That's not true. I'm telling you, this thing's got momentum. It's got legs. Okay, and it's like an immovable object at the same time. So it's got inertia as well. Okay, so it's very scientific what I'm talking about here. We've got a big problem. We've stepped in the dog crap up to our necks, and everybody's going to smell it through osmosis. Okay, you're going to get your share. And those that, accept that fact and go out there and get their share first are going to be least traumatized by this whole thing. When you really wake up to the fact that there's all kinds of solutions, but there's all these people that don't want the solutions because their relevance depends upon the problem persisting and preferably increasing, because that gives them more relevance, more job security. Their sense of freedom goes up. Do you understand? Freedom and security, that they can go hand in hand, because you can't feel free unless you're out of fear. And how do you describe being out of fear? It's called being secure. So unless you're monetarily secure, financially secure, economically secure, you're not out of fear. You're not feeling free. Do you understand? You can't. So this is what I'm trying to convey to people, get them to understand how important it is to understand that this guy's welfare is your welfare, literally. Like Jesus said, whatsoever we do or fail to do for the least of men, we do or fail to do for him. It's all very cut and dry and simple. It's incontrovertible wisdom that I'm trying to give people, that they can take and run with and get into economic discussions with people. Don't shy away from it. And right away establish, do you believe in God? Okay, first of all, we've got to establish certain dynamics and parameters for the paradigm of economic principle and these discussions. They have to, the mind of God, the divine things have to supersede all our political leanings and whatnot, okay? Whether you're a socialist or a capitalist and all this crap that people want to, they say they're against what do they call the division between the belief systems of left, right, and all this, but they're always harping and just, excoriating the other side for being leftist, for example, and acting like they have no idea how this all came to be. These people are just deranged. They're just demented freaks that don't understand. They're just like Mao, and these communists just want to come and take from the haves and give to the have-nots and end up like Venezuela and all this, and which is true. I mean, they can point this doesn't work. So you can't take from others and to give to others and expect positive results. It's never happened before. It doesn't work that way. That's why I don't prescribe to socialist thinking, okay, this I tax and spend sort of thing, the Bernie Sanders stuff. I don't. Okay, I prescribe to the worth of your currencies. When I talk about how a basic income could solve humanity's problems, I mean what I'm saying, and hear me out. It's a very conservative, fiscally prudent view. Okay, what I'm talking about here with, say, a Tobin tax, for example. Do you understand how if you ended the vast majority of crime tomorrow, your tax dollars would be worth more? So understand this as your currency goes up in worth relative to a certain service or commodity. So you're paying for a service. When you pay the criminal industrial complex $50,000 a year, okay, because once all the collective money of society goes into the kitty, the treasury, it becomes your money too. You have a voice in a republic. You have an equal voice with everybody else to put your 2 cents in. Okay, you have not only a right, an entitlement, but you have a duty, an obligation, a responsibility to put your 2 cents in with your voice of what you want to see. What do you call progress? Where are we going here? Why do they keep raising the tax? Okay, why is the criminal industrial complex so expensive that we got to spend $50,000 a year per inmate? But we're not willing to lift a finger to prevent the crime in the first place. It's almost like they're deliberately trying to induce the crime. And that gives the criminal industrial complex and all those working within it relevance, job security. Do you understand how sinister, maddening this is when you awaken and you see what I'm saying is true? Okay, so if you just ended poverty, just desperate poverty, I'm not saying you're going to buy someone a new car or a VCR or a TV or something, okay, jewelry. I'm just saying, look, if we make sure nobody's desperately poor, remember what's made them desperately poor, the debasement of the currency. So the reason there's so much homelessness is a lack of affordable housing. Now they're talking to the, now they've come up with the housing shortage thing again. So some 30 years later, because they were trying this, played this card 30 years ago to get this ball rolling with the housing shortage business to explain why housing prices were going up. They played that card. Now they've made full circle and they're trying that card again. And I'm saying that's baloney. We have machines that can build houses. That's all a lie. It's all a lie. It's a scam. Do you understand? There's special interest groups that collude together to make sure your cost of living tax stays up. It's just like these cost of housing tax stays up. It's like these stories of these warehouses full of diamonds. We could all be walking around with pockets full, chock full of diamonds. They don't want you to know that. They want to own and they collude and monopolize with these special interest groups to make sure that they regulate things on their basis, on their terms. And that's what's going on. They're doing that same thing with housing, an essential human need. I don't care if they manipulate diamonds. Okay, I don't give a crap. I don't need diamonds. Okay, but that's what they do. Do you understand? They control the markets, these special interest groups. Okay, what interest is it to a renter to have your cost of housing go up? Okay, it's not. Okay, but he might, in his say, just go along with it, go with the flow, go with the grain, because he said, well, my parents are landlords, so it's good for them, so I'm going to end up inheriting those rentals, and so that might be in their mind. You understand? It's very easy. The heart is deceitfully wicked above all else, like the Bible says. So understand, I talk about being born master of self-deceit. I mean it. We've all got to check ourselves at the door and turn to God, for his consultation to supersede any of our false notions, any of our indoctrination, brainwashing, conditioning, and programming that we've undergone, this inculcation of madness that we've all just learned to accept, like the frog in the water. If they tried this stuff overnight, there's no way. We'd jump the hell out of the pot. Okay? Never would we have gone for this currency debasement through cost of living, tax inflation. Never. Never, believe me. They know what they're doing. They are very diabolical. That's like their religion, diabolism. They're evil freaks, folks, at the top, I'm telling you. Get that through your head. So even Eisenhower warned when I was a baby, sometime I guess in the very early 60s, or I guess I was about 2 years old. Born in May 58, so he warned about the military-industrial complex, how black hats within this business, he found out, were running it like a business in the military. Okay, we all know there's great military men and women. Okay, I'm not talking about them. I never am. I'm not talking about good people in the government, law enforcement, and in the criminal industrial complex. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the bad guys, okay, that would proliferate your problems, would promulgate these problems in society, okay, and they're there. You can't deny it. And they are the most influential ones because they don't value their conscience. They don't see it as relevant. They love those temporal things. They love the money and the things that come with it, the power and the control, the materialism, the freedom and security, all those things that we're all familiar with, that we all love money for. We can't lie to God. God knows whatever. So the way out of this thing is going through it and just being honest and being empowered with the truth and being willing to lift your share of the cross, the weight of the cross, and just confront everybody everywhere, and don't let people stay in this ignorance is bliss bull crap anymore. We can't do it. That's grabbing the bull by the horns. It's just everybody, your neighbors, friends, family, strangers, anybody you meet. Make a blog, do videos like I'm doing here. I mean, do whatever. But just speak out, speak your mind, leave comments. But we've got to get to the bottom of this thing. And I'm telling you, it is sinister, up one side, down the other to the nth degree. Our society is rife with fraud, okay? roundly so, and there's no denying it. Okay, there's just look at the now they got the welfare industrial complex. Do you understand? All these people's jobs now depend upon the problems persisting. The financial services industry. Do you understand the implications of working toward a world without money? Okay, and making it irrelevant through prosperity across the board, through the opposite of currency debasement. Okay, where your currency is worth more because your cost of living tax went down like it's supposed to under true capitalist supply and demand principles. That's what happens automatically, naturally, organically, not being forced, not being meddled with, like the '08 bailout, this kind of crap, which is the opposite of capitalism. Nobody can deny any form of capitalism. Competition is involved, true competition.